Good afternoon. I'd like to call the meeting to order. The City of Belleville acknowledges we are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations. We recognize and honor the historic relationship of Indigenous peoples to this land and acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained with them. We recognize First Nation, Métis, and Inuit who call Belleville their home and support the need for cultivating a strong relationship with them. We look forward to fostering a path towards reconciliation and show respect for Indigenous peoples who first lived and currently live on this land where we now all reside together. Please remain standing for a moment of reflection.
May we be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Help us to be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, always having respect for others so that we may serve the people of our city in a helpful manner and for the good of all.
Please remain standing. I would now like to take a moment of silence for the passing of our Deputy Fire Chief, Jim Young. In just 2 short years, Deputy Young became a driving force in making Belleville's fire service the best in its class. He will be remembered for his sense of calm during times of distress, his passion for firefighting development, and his dedication to improving the fire service. He will be deeply missed by all who knew him. Our hearts go out to his loved ones, his fire family, and everyone he has impacted in a lifelong way. Please be seated. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none, attendance, Councillor Millette is on a leave of absence. I need a motion for approval of the minutes of council meeting held on April 14th, 25. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Thompson. Discussion, all in favor? Carried. Deputations, Connie Carson is not being able to make it today, so we have rebooked her till the next council meeting. Correspondence as read. Could I get the West Nile virus preparedness prevention plan supported and approved? Moved by Councillor Enright Miller, Councillor Carr. Discussion, all in favor? Carried. I needed a motion for the council rise and go committee of the whole at 4:04 p.m. to hear and consider reports with Councillor Kelly in the chair. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. We're going to go to the agenda, 8A, reports. The agenda shall include under reports items that warrant individual attention from council. 8A1, extension of draft plan of subdivision, Village of Avonlea subdivision, part lots 3132, broken front concession and concession 1, Township of Sidney, now City of Belleville, County of Hastings. Owners is Whitestone, Briarwood. Files ER-117 12T-21002, APS 2025-16 draft extension plan, Village of Avonlea. We get a mover? Mayor Ellis and Councillor Chatton. I guess I should read the resolution. The resolution to Section 5133 of the Planning Act, the Council of the Corporation of the City of Belleville approve the request for a 2-year extension of the draft approval for the plan of subdivision until May 9th, 2027. So we had it moved by Mayor Ellis and seconded by Councillor Chatton. Any discussion? Councillor Thompson.
Just one question. This subdivision, when we're giving an extension, does it involve the same layout of homes as in the previous agreement with the builder?
We'll take a call at the back. Ms. O'Leary, thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson. Yes, it's just revising the date there. That's all that's being revised.
Thank you.
Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the motion, but I just wanted to just touch two items very briefly. The first one is with respect to the fact that this was originally approved in May of 2022. And so I just want to point out that the application came through planning, was processed quite quickly, and then obviously approved accordingly. Here we have the developer requesting the extension, and according to staff, they've requested the maximum duration possible for that extension, which is 2 years, and that's what's being recommended here. But I think it's important to point out that this is driven by the builder and the developer, and not as a result of the city. Many of the requirements within the draft plan approval process are obviously things that we monitor at the municipal level, but they are in fact provincial regulations that have to be adhered to. So the developer in this case requires more time. However, the other thing I want to bring up is the fact that when this application did come through planning and presented the plan that's still the plan today, it was under a different owner, and that land then was approved for residential building, and so therefore the zoning changed. And lo and behold, with that comes the sale of that land. That land was listed for $29 million on a public listing, which I saw. I have no idea what it actually sold for, but it was at that amount. I bring that up just simply to show and demonstrate how land costs are contributing to the affordability of houses. So in addition to the delay that's required here, we had a previous owner that sought approval for zoning, probably nothing more than to increase the value of what the activities we did around here, and as a result, those are going to impact housing costs in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Chair. My question is, as you've indicated, that the 2 years is the maximum allowable time. Given that the actual design of the subdivision is not changing, in reality, does the developer actually need 2 full years to be able to do this, or is there an opportunity to expedite this? Particularly given that we have a major infrastructure project in the neighborhood of plus $50 million was put in place and prioritized to facilitate Potter's Creek and this particular subdivision. So I'd just like to know if there's an opportunity to do this in under 2 years.
Ms. O'Leary.
Through the chair to Councillor Brown. So the developer did request the maximum extension, and that was reviewed by our manager of approvals. These things do take time, so they did the 2-year extension there. But it's important to note that these subdivisions are quite often implemented in phases, and so as soon as that first phase is registered, the draft plan is automatically extended. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't take the 2 years to get through that registration of the first phase, but giving the 2 years just so we're not coming back to council with numerous extensions. And just to touch on the second point there, this Village of Avonlea subdivision, actually the sanitary drainage area goes south to Dundas, so it can proceed. It's not waiting for Avonlea pumping station. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? We'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Approved. Thank you. Next, it's 8A2, 2025 Water and Wastewater Financial Plans, DDF 2025-03. The resolution that Council approved the City of Belleville 2025-2034 Water and Wastewater Financial Plans and authorize staff to submit the water financial plan to the required provincial ministries. Can we get a mover? Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. Any comments? Councillor Thompson.
On page 57 of 478, and I'm really just trying to get a handle on what water rates are going to be in 9 years. So on page 57 of 478, or page 30 of the 46, the forecast here is residential 104.5 0.3% up to 183.9%. So so it's going to go from $2, the water is going to go from 26 to 56, wastewater Veronica from 2 point, so what is the prediction of dollars that it's going to end up in 2034 to a residential person? Because I'm the old story again, only one taxpayer in this thing.
Brianne McNevin, please. Thank you.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson. Yes, that is the forecast that was presented to council back in November when it comes to the wastewater surcharge. Rates are annually brought to council for recommendation and approval each year, and the forecast was a consistent and smoothed out increase that is required by wastewater to address both the operating and capital requirements for that program. So as of right now, and based on the information that we do have, the surcharge is projected to not only exceed 100% based on the current rate structure that the city has, but to reach 184% by the end of 2034.
So a normal ratepayer for water and wastewater, if they were paying, say, $100 right now,
Yep.
what are they going to pay in 9 years?
They would be paying almost 2 times what their water service rate and consumption rate would be, based on the current rate structure of the city.
And that's just for wastewater, and then water rates, same thing?
No, water has very nominal increases. So back in November when we presented water rate increases, they were only subject to a 1.47% increase per year for 10 years. Because they have sufficient reserve funds to be able to leverage against.
So why, in my estimation, that's a fairly large increase
Yes.
for the average taxpayer.
Yes.
And we got to remember, there's some people out there in our community that are living on pretty low income. So we're going to double in 9 years, and unfortunately, unless we get different government looking after our seniors, they're going to pay double in 9 years.
At this time, and based on the current information that we do have, yes, we will continue to leverage and identify other funding sources as they become available for the wastewater service. But at this time, we only really will commit to funding that we know will come, which is the user rate and our other grants that come on an annual basis.
And I will be preparing a motion in the future to look at seniors in a certain wage scale, get some subsidy on wastewater rates in the future, because we got to look out for our seniors. We're a very large senior municipality, and I know we got to look at replacing our infrastructure, but along with taxes, if we continue with taxes at 4 or 5 or 6% plus this over 9 years. So I'll be bringing a motion in the future to subsidize for seniors. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Approved. Thank you. Move on to 8B, consent items. Council may adopt consent items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. Resolution that council consent items 8B1 to 8B2 be approved with the exception, but before we get to that, we're going to go around the table and see if anyone's going to pull. We'll start with Councillor Thompson.
No, thank you.
Councillor Carr.
8B1, please.
8B1, thank you. Enright Miller, Councillor Enright Miller.
No, thank you.
Councillor Sue.
No, thank you.
Councillor Brown.
No, thank you.
Councillor Chatton.
No, thank you, Chair.
Mayor Ellis.
No, thank you.
Okay, so.
That's fine. If you stick AB1 in there,
Okay.
and then we'll do AB1.
Okay. All right, the resolution is that consent items 8B1 to 8B2 be approved with the exception of items 8B1. We'll come back to that to be considered separately. So can we get a motion? Councillor Enright Miller, seconded by Councillor Sue. All those in favor? Approved. 8B1, recycling, waste, organic collection update and agreements. The resolution that pursuant to the Director of Transportation and Operations Services Report number DT0S 2025-05, recycling, waste, organic collection update, and Thurlow Recycling Depot Operations Agreements, a bylaw be approved and authorize the execution of the Thurlow Recycling Depot Center, Operations Agreement and the Agreement for Eligible Community Promotion and Education between the City of Belleville, Circular Materials, be prepared for Council's consideration. Councillor Carr, and seconded by Councillor Chatton. Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And, you know, this is good to see that producers will end up paying, and this will be something that won't be on the municipal budget line per se. However, I want to talk about that in a minute. You know, clearly, Connie Waste Solutions has been struggling with regards to recycling. In 2025, we saw that they drew down on reserves for $500,000. In 2024, there was a note in the budget submission that they had a $500,000 operating line of credit, which they were intending to increase to $1 million to be utilized when finances were low. In 2023, they drew down on reserves for $500,000, and even in 2022, they drew down for $265,000 on reserves. I hope there's some proceeds from their dissolution that will come back to member municipalities, that won't all be dissolved, and I certainly appreciate the work that our member representative does. I know that sometimes perhaps maybe he sits as an island amongst others, but certainly know he advocates on behalf of the city. Having said that, the question I do have is with respect to non-eligible source collection, and it indicates under the regulations that industrial, commercial, and institutional, including the BDIA, are not eligible sources under the Circular Ontario program, and that the city would be retaining, providing that service. I see it works out to be $48,100 in 2025, and then annually $96,200 plus disposal costs annually thereafter. My question through you, perhaps to the Director of Finance, is would property taxes for those non-eligible sources be enough to cover that, or would there be a drawdown on general revenue through residential bag tags and things of that nature to cover this cost?
Thank you. Director Ferguson.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, this would be a reduction. This was a service that was within the budget for the Connie Waste services, so we will see that draw down. This would be a cost that would remain. Those costs are covered through property taxation currently, so that would be the case, unless we took a look at, as we do on an annual basis, the waste management component to look at bag tag increases and user fee revenues that would be derived from that. Alternatively, the level of service could be adjusted to remove those, but I believe it was remains in the service delivery and extended through our contract for those non-eligibles, as it was a level of service that was provided previously.
And if I could, and I appreciate that. So just to be a little clearer though, in my question, in terms of the cost that's associated with this, the revenue that would be generated through taxes in the industrial, the commercial, and the BDIA would cover this level of service, or are you suggesting that bag tags at the residential level, that revenue would cover a service in the non-eligible side? Through you, Mr. Chair.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, it would be covered through property taxation on the industrial and commercial side, as it is consistent with the Connie Waste services currently.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Thompson.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Carr, for the comments. I sit on that committee, as Councillor Carr knows, and over the years I've sat on it, part of the cost and always looking and going into a line of credit was the disposal of recyclable products fluctuated so much, and buyers just weren't buying some of the products. So they got near nothing for some of the products, and the only way to exist, and unfortunately, and granted, they didn't have to go very deep into their boring power to sustain the availability of that particular, and they knew that with the disposal or the changing of the guards, if you want to call it, who was going to look after it. And now they've sold the property. We haven't been officially notified how much. Director Ferguson, have we?
Mr. Ferguson, Director?
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, no, currently.
But it has been sold, and we will get the largest share out of that disposable. I have pretty good idea what it was sold for, but until the Director of Finance has it, it's gospel out of his mouth, not mine. So we will get the largest share. We'll get some revenue back from it, but it's been a lot of fluctuation in the price of recycling, and at the end of this year, that will be disbanded, that committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Thompson. Any other comments, questions? Call for the vote. All those in favor? Approved. Over to 8C, information items. Council may adopt information items by one motion, but prior to consideration of such motion, members may request that specific items be removed from consideration under such motion, and council shall consider such items individually. And tonight, we only have the one. That's 8C1, notification of purchases for March 2025. Can we get a notification of purchases provided to council March 25 through April 28, 2025 council meetings? Councillor Chatton, seconded by Mayor Ellis. Any comments? All those in favor? Approved. And we'll go down to 8D. Rise and report resolution that Committee of the Whole does now rise and return to council at 4:24. Mover, Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Enright Miller. All those in favor? Approved.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly. I need a motion to pass bylaws numbers 2570 to 2589 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, second by Councillor Enright Miller. Discussion, Councillor Carr.
Thank you, Mayor. With regards to 2025-70, transfer or payment agreement between Province of Ontario and the City of Belleville with regards to fire protection, and I reference Schedule C in that bylaw. It refers to the fact that the Ministry of the Solicitor General, Office of the Fire Marshal, received Treasury Board approval for a $30 million grant over 3 years, and I noticed that we've been approved out of that $30 million for $361.73. I recall a couple months ago that we got approval for a larger amount. Is this a portion of that $45,000, or is this something separate?
Chief Smith would have the answer, or the Treasurer. Chief Smith?
Through the chair, that is just an additional fund that was added on to the original grant. So we received the original grant. Purchases have been made, and the province determined we've got some extra money, and so it was then divvied out across municipalities, and that was the additional amount that we received.
Okay, thank you. And you know, and that's great. That's going to cover some important equipment for our firefighters. It's just always interesting when you see a provincial announcement, you know, of $30 million, and it sounds like a lot of money, but by the time it's all divvied up, we're getting a grand total of $361. So again, how money gets announced and how it actually translates in the results is certainly two different things, but we're appreciative of any money we can get from the province. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carr. Anybody else? All in favor? Carried. New business. Going around the table, seeing none. Notice of motions, announcements. Announcements, I'll go down, Councillor Thompson, that side, moving around. Councillor Brown.
Thank you. I wanted to make sure I wasn't stepping over Councillor Thompson there. Just a reminder that Councillor Carr and I will be hosting a Ward 2 Town Hall on May the 13th, starting at 6:30, and it will be at the Jerry Masterson Arena at 516 Harmony Road. For residents that cannot attend in person, we're going to try something new this time round, and they will be able to join virtually. So anyone who wishes to attend the meeting and do so through the conferencing feature are asked to email councillor.carr@belleville.ca to be registered, and just before the meeting we will send out a link to those individuals to make sure that we can monitor that they've been able to log in successfully, as well as it will give them an opportunity live like everyone else as part of the Q&A session. So we're hoping that we'll get a really good turnout and that will generate some interest through this new virtual option.
Thank you, Councillor Brown. Anybody else? Councillor Kelly.
Thank you, Mayor, and I feel tonight we got a lot of work done in a little while, so it gives us more time for announcements. First of all, I just wanted to mention, starting on Friday, it's Youth Engagement Week in Ontario, and the Belleville Youth Engagement Committee have a special kickoff. It's silent disco at Loyalist College at the Shark Tank for grades 7 to 12, and it's from 6 o'clock until 9 on Friday night. High school DJ Avery Hone is performing, and we want to thank Olivia Millard. She was instrumental in making sure that Loyalist was a partner in our youth engagement kickoff. And we also have free popcorn for the students that are coming from Sweet Pea's Party Treats. It's a youth-driven business, all tied into Youth Week here in Ontario. And I want to thank Councillor Chatton for her commitment to the Youth Committee, and it's been really engaging the last several months. And I want to thank you, Mayor Ellis. I reached out to you last week. I know you had a very stressful week as the mayor, but you were still kind enough to help us with some of the expenses for the youth event on Friday. So thank you for that. And for those around the table, you might not be aware what a silent disco is. And raise your hands if you have an idea. 1 or 2 hands are up, surprising. I was at a resort a few years ago. What it is, you put a headset on, you actually listen to the music, and people are dancing, but there's no music. So it's kind of cool. It's a real nice vibe. Yesterday, I had a chance to be at the Seventh-day Adventist Church special paint and sip event at Centennial Secondary School. Thanks to Casita Evans for the invite. Belleville Police Service was there, Brittany Blake. Belleville Fire Emergency Services, Shane McGrath and Richard Quick. They were giving educational points to the families that were there. Seventh-day Adventist Church in Belleville has 150 members, and they offer cooking schools, they have musical programs, and they do clothing and food drives. Real active church in our community, and we're so fortunate to have them. Now, yesterday, they asked if the winning artist could have her painting displayed in the mayor's office. The winner was Carol Ann Scott, and this is her work. And I'm hoping that Mayor Ellis would put this in his office for up to 30 days. And when people come in, he can say that's by Carol Ann Scott. Are you willing to do that, sir?
I'll put it up for more than 30 days, Councillor Kelly. So
Thank you.
Are you sure you didn't paint that? That's great.
No, that's
you
good.
wouldn't have the talent on that.
No, but
That's a
thank you
beautiful
very
picture.
much for doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you. And Belleville Police, Brittany, Blake wanted me to pass this along to you, Mayor.
My own police car.
There you have it.
It's a stress test.
That's it, yes. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly. Proclamations are Food Allergy Awareness Month, Community Living Month, Huntington Disease Awareness Month, Sexual Violence Prevention Month, Melanoma and Skin Cancer Awareness Month. May 1st to 7th is National Youth Week, May 8th as the 80th anniversary of Victory in Europe Day, and May 10th, Lupus Awareness Days. I just had a question, and I wanted to thank a lot of people that covered our city for Deputy Young's passing. And I wanted to ask the chief of what cities helped us out, Chief, and if you wanted to talk a minute on that.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. To allow our staff the opportunity to pay their respects last week, we had numerous fire services come forward, and we're very appreciative for that. So I would like to take the opportunity to put out a special thanks, and we'll be doing so written as well to these communities. But to Tyendinaga Township, and specifically Chief Oliver, he coordinated all rural coverage and rural responses within our community. Mohawk Fire and Quinte West Fire, as well as Tweed Fire, they looked after our rural area. The cities of Peterborough and Kingston provided staff, and they provided all response for the urban area. And these departments were so generous. The city of Peterborough, they had committed to sending one crew with a truck down to our city, and the day before, their chief called me and said, you know what, I'm going to send two. So the coverage that we had in our city was actually superior to what we're able to provide 7 days a week here as far as staffing numbers go. It even went as far as the city of Kingston sending a crew that also included their marine operators. So should something have happened on the water, we were also covered that way. I also want to just put out a big thank you to 3 of our captains that stayed back and worked through the funeral so that they could assist and ensure continuity in coverage. And that special thanks goes out to Captain Andy Noyes, who took the lead as the liaison for all external agencies, Captain Steve Parks, and Captain Kevin McLean. And then also a huge thanks goes out to Belleville Police Service. They know what they've done for us over the last week. They were huge, and a major thank you goes out to them. And before I pass it back over, I'm probably taking more time than I should. I do have to thank our Wellness Center, and that goes out to Tracy Newton, Rob McGlashan, Steve LaFrance, and their entire team. It was no easy task for those that were there. There was over 1,000 people, and they pulled that together in a very short time. You will forever be in our hearts, and thank you.
Thank you, Chief, for that, and I'll get letters signed to all the mayors if you were to get me their names also, so thank you. Time for confirmatory bylaw number 2025-90, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council meeting held on April 28, 25. Bylaw 2590 be read and passed. Moved by Councillor Chatton, seconded by Councillor Wright Miller. Discussion, all in favor. Carried. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Thompson, Councillor Carr, all in favor. Before I say that, get out and vote tonight if you haven't voted, and tomorrow will be a new day. All in favor? Carried.